Cam Shepard. He is the outgoing coach of Brookville High School. He's the new coach at Douglas Freeman. I asked him to talk about his time at Brookville, and he looks ahead to Douglas Freeman as well, right here on the Sports Buffet podcast. The time has come. Cam Shepard leaving Brookville. Leaving it in good hands, though. We're talking to the head coach right now. You always be the head coach to me. You're going to be the head coach at a new place in Douglas Freeman. Talk about the draw. What took you to Richmond besides your wife getting a job in that area?
Well, I think that was the initial push to look into Richmond. Was obviously Katie, had a job opportunity, and my in-laws, her parents are located in Richmond, and I was really excited about the opportunity to get her back close to her parents, and have our kids near at least one set of grandparents, which would be really good and really helpful for us, especially during the hectic season. So once that happened, I started looking around the area. I started talking to people that I knew in the basketball world, and trying to gauge the fit of the school and then gauge the fit of the program. And one of the things I looked at a lot was, the admin, specifically the athletic director that I would be working for at specific schools. And I got to know Vance Harmon at Freeman, pretty quickly. And I've grown to feel like he and I are very similar. And that he is going to be a huge supporter, and will have my back through the process. So I think that, along with Freeman being in a really good community, was what drew us to that area.
For people who have never been in that area, compare Douglas Freeman to somewhere around here that people might know.
I think it's got kind of a mixture of a few places. I think there might be a bit of a Jefferson Forest feel. I think there might be, as far as diversity goes, there might be a bit of an EC Glass feel as well. I think it's a good mixture of several different places. And
So two groups of kids. You're having the urban and the non-urban, if that makes sense, or however we want to put it.
I think, and then I think you have everything in between.
Right.
I think, obviously a big school, be different types of personalities, different types of backgrounds, diversity. And that's really a draw for me. I was looking for that.
One thing that you got to do here that a lot of places don't have is, well, first, your dad knows the game. Two, you got to coach with your dad, which a lot of people don't always get to coach with their dad. How special did that make your coaching life up to this point of, hey, dad knows basketball, dad's on the bench?
Yeah, to take that question a different direction, it's probably the hardest part about leaving, not getting to coach with him anymore. Even at 37 years old, when the job presented itself, I had already spoken at length with my wife, and she's involved in every decision I make. And, we do things as a team where she knew where I stood. He was the one person I had to call, not to clear it with, but to just make sure that I felt like he was on board. And he obviously was immediately on board and was all for it and was super supportive. But having him on the sidelines has always felt like a security blanket. I know what he knows, and I know where, he excels in the areas that he can help me. And it was just great to have him there. But, what kid, a boy especially, wouldn't love to just continue to spend time with their dad, and I think that's the way I looked at it. Is it wasn't us doing a job together. It wasn't us coaching together. It was just, we got to hang out more.
And it seems like he always, and I say this respectfully, knew his role. He knew that Cameron, in his words, Cameron's going to make the calls, and I'm just sitting here supporting him.
Yeah, he was great about that. He didn't, he never overstepped. That's not in his personality. That's not in his makeup. I truly think he just wanted to be a part of it. He wanted to do it with me. And then I think he felt like he had a lot to offer, which he did. The kids at Brookville, as far as basketball knowledge and growing the game and things like that. And he did a great job, and I was blessed to have him.